Folks, welcome to Live from the Black House, the one and only Jordan Thomas.
Made it to the Black House.
You made it to the
We're
Black
here.
House. And as I understand it, you got caught up in some traffic, which
I
is
got
like very fitting for your campaign.
I got caught up behind yet another train.
Yes.
So for those of you who think it's just an East Side problem, it is a Houston problem. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, welcome to the show. We are what, 4 days away from Election Day?
It's all been one long day. I don't
It's
know.
all been one long day.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into like your origin story and all of that, but I want to go back to the moment where you said, "I'm running for city council." Like,
Yeah.
take us back to that moment when you were like, "I'm hopping in."
Like the announcement or the moment in my head?
In your
that
head.
Okay. I remember it very clearly, actually. I was in Colorado.
Okay.
I'm a project manager. I work on energy projects, mostly transmission lines on our grid.
Okay.
I was in Colorado for a meeting with the governor, and I'm thinking about the grid.
Okay, humble brag.
Oh, dang it! I shouldn't have. Sorry, that's not how I want to introduce myself.
No, you're good. You're
With
good.
low-level government staffers, and I've been hearing rumblings that Letitia was probably going to resign.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, I worked for Letitia before. I was her
Mhm.
chief of staff. It is no secret, it is not the first time Letitia has thought about running for something.
Yeah,
So I wasn't
yeah.
sure if this is real or not.
Yeah.
Um, and I just remember kind of sitting in my hotel room, staring out the window, thinking, I got a good thing going here. I could just do this for another 10 to 15 years
Yeah.
before thinking about getting back in public life. And um, no, I think there was an article about ICE or something. I can't remember, but there was an ICE-related story. And I was thinking about HPD and their collaboration with ICE, and I was thinking about this moment that we're living in. And this is not a moment for business as usual, for the same old kind of election cycle, same old talking points that we've heard. And I felt like I had something to contribute that was different and
Yeah.
unique. And I felt like sort of life, what have you, was aligning and kind of pushing me in this direction. And I said, I'll jump. Like there's a saying, I don't know where it's from, but it's when the moment is scariest, that's when you jump.
Absolutely.
So I decided right then and there to jump.
Who's the first person you told? Who's the first person you called?
My boss.
Ooh.
I called Michael
Kind of
Skelly.
have to do that.
Yeah, it was kind of, am I going to have a job if I still do this? How do you feel
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
So we had lunch and we talked about it. And, sure Michael Skelly ran for Congress himself back in '08. So he got it. He understood. He was just like, commitment. I mean, sure you want to go like that public and do this right now? Like, I know you're not the type of guy who halfway does something. You're going to go all in. I know how you feel about the current administration. Are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw your your logo and your ad. I wasn't sure if you were going to run, if this was to announce in 27, because initially you didn't say 4. You just said that you were running for city council.
Right. Yeah. I guess I didn't think that through. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
like, well, of course it's for now,
Yeah,
right? Letitia
yeah.
just announced. But yeah, no, I don't think I could run for like 2.5 years,
Yeah,
whatever it is, till
yeah.
2027. That's a long time. This has been a sprint. There's a part of me that's like, oh, I should never do anything like this again. And there's a part of me that thinks this is actually the timeline that you want to be doing races on. Having to like have a full year is a little too much. Maybe
Yeah.
a condensed election cycle is better for everybody, especially in Houston, where it seems like we have an election every year now.
We sort of saw that earlier with the City 18 race. Uh, Mayor Turner, Congressman Turner passes away, what, like March 5th?
Yeah, like two.
Yeah. And so we assumed it would be in May.
Yep.
You have all these people that sort of announce, and they're thinking they have a 2-month sprint. And it's like, no, you have a lot longer. And it's like, what do you do with all of that time when it's like, June,
Right.
July,
Right.
So you hop into this race, and you've been doing good.
Thank you.
You've been doing good. I mean, we had Evan Mintz on the other day, the opinions editor for the Houston Chronicle. He gave a raving review, and he said something that I found very interesting. He said, for a time like this, the reason why they went with you was they wanted someone who would actually stand up to the mayor.
So I guess they saw what I had in my head, right?
Yeah.
That day that I decided to jump in. It's just a different moment.
Yeah.
And I think I watched the show. I heard Evan say like maybe under a different mayor, maybe we would have gone with someone else.
Yeah.
And I do, look, I do have differences with the current administration, but I don't want to paint this narrative of I want to go to city council to fight Whitmire every day
Yeah.
and just be at war with the mayor. That's not how I visualize getting things done. I'd like to have my own relationship with him. Like that will be decided and settled in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the direction that we're taking the city right now, and I don't see why we elect 5 at-large council members to all participate in groupthink. I say that they are, but I'm saying like that's
They
not
kinda do.
what I think. Darrell Douglas said that.
They kind of do.
Not
They
Jordan
kind of do.
Thomas.
It's one big happy family. Everybody's holding hands, thinking Negro spirituals. Sounded bad. Tara Taylor said, "This is who I want to see." So I take it Tara Taylor is a fan. You've worked in politics before. You were chief of staff. I remember during the pandemic, we were working on some stuff with Houston Justice, and you were like our contact in the office, and you were like really on it. I take it you've probably worked in other political campaigns and stuff like that. They always say it's different when it's your name on the sign. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What are some of the things that you've been in proximity to elections and to this, but now it's you? Give us an insight into what.
Yeah, I've been a campaign manager, so I've been in very close proximity. And I thought I knew what this was going to be going in. I would say like maybe like 70% of the things I anticipated. The strangest thing is that I am now content that people can consume, right? Like I can tweet something out and people who have never met me, don't know anything about me, have a knee-jerk reaction to what that is, and they all kinds of things about me or narratives about me. And I can't control narratives. And there's I put something out there and it's no longer mine. It's a kite in the wind. Wherever it's going to go is where it's going to go. And that's been the weirdest thing to be content and to kind of like, there's this two-ness. I see myself through my own eyes, right? But then you see yourself through, what the general public or that rage tweeter in that moment is seeing and perceiving. And it does make you kind of pause a little bit. And I've had to adjust to that. That's probably the strangest thing.
Yeah. We see that Tara Taylor and some other folks are on. If you have questions for Jordan, he could be your next city council member. Put them in the comments and I'll ask him. Jordan, when you first rolled out, first of all, I was like, wow, I really like your logo because it was like very creative. It was like, oh, like, I get it. Like, this is cool. Like, you put like the map in there and your rollout was very polished. It was like you in front of the Metro Rail. And it was like, okay, he's doing this. But it was still new. And it was still like, okay, where's he going to go with this? And then it seems like somewhere over the course of the past few weeks, you like locked in, and I don't know if you hired some new people. I see you got a staffer in here. I don't know if she had something to do with it, but all of a sudden it was like dun da da da, and you got your second wind. Did you feel that? I mean, it was before the Chronicle endorsement, I would say.
There was a couple moments. So my first forum debate, whatever you want to call it, was at Bayou City Dams over at St. Andrews, right there in West Alabama. And there's like 200 people in the room. And I'm nervous. I usually don't get nervous to talk about stuff I've been thinking about forever, right? And my dad calls me, he's like, Jordan, you're late. Where are you? You're supposed to be here. And I'm like, Dad, I'm nervous. Like, just give me a minute. I'll get there. I got the kid in the back. Like, calm down. He's like, nervous? What, you getting nervous? I'm like, my dad is a very, like, imagine, being a fifth grader playing your basketball game and he's like screaming at you, just set the pick, bro. Like he's that guy in everything, including this campaign. So I'm even more nervous. And I get there and I've got this speech in my head and it's perfect. And, it's my turn to introduce myself. And for about 15 seconds, I feel like I'm crushing it. Like, this is the intro that I wanted to give. And then my mind goes blank for about 2 full minutes of just staring at a crowd of 200 people saying nothing, right? Just blanked out. And I was trying to be a candidate. I was trying to be, this version of what a politician should be. This is what the public wants to see. This is how I have to present. And I wasn't being my authentic self. And I think falling flat on my face so publicly was the most beneficial thing that could have happened to me, because I decided in that moment that, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to run on what I actually believe. I'm going to say what I actually think. I'm not going to write a whole bunch of speeches. I'm not going to memorize a stump speech. I'm going to authentically go into people's spaces and tell them what I know and believe, not what I think they know and believe. And that changed everything for me. It changed my perspective. It changed the way I interacted with other candidates. It changed the way I interacted with people that I met off the street. It was no longer I had to be this polished, well thought out thing, right? Or the thing that you consume, the content, right? I could just be me.
Your swagger, like the way you walk across the screen in your things, is like you kind of own it. You know what I mean? And it's like that's the Jordan that folks are really looking for. And you've built a lot of grassroots support. People like Ed Pettit, people who are like on the issues that have lined up behind you. What do you attribute that to?
These are the people that I was intentional about cultivating relationships when I was a chief of staff, because they're the people I admired. As like a policy creator, I wanted to be with the people that were the boots on the ground, who were doing things that weren't necessarily academic, who were doing things that didn't necessarily like make the paper or have a whole lot of like establishment support behind them. I've always felt like that's where the solution. And so I wanted to cultivate a campaign for those types of people. And I'm very proud that I think we've attracted exactly that group. It doesn't come with an endorsement, it doesn't come with a check, but it comes with authentic belief, mission, right? And that's just more powerful to me than any message or talking point. And I think that that's evident in my campaign now.
Absolutely. So this, I mean, even as someone who's run campaigns, this is such an odd situation where it's like it's an off year. We were supposed to be like talking about like the 17 constitutional amendments. And then all of a sudden there's a congressional race. And then there's this race. So it's this weird sort of spot where it's an off year, but there's a congressional race, and your race is in between there. So everybody's either not paying attention at all, or they're looking at CD18. I'm working on different projects and wanted to lean into At-Large 4.
Yeah.
And most folks, when talking about partners and stuff like that, they're like, no, let's do it for CD18. And it's like, well, there is a city council election that is going on. How have you navigated that? Do you think that was a pro or a con for this is your first time running, right?
My first time running. I feel like this race was just kind of grafted onto the process that was already happening for CD18. Like all the folks who were doing endorsements and everything, they were like, got to change our process now that there's a surprise At-Large 4 race. Like, no, we've had a good kind of cadence going with CD18. And so I feel like there's parts of this race that are just completely unnatural and not normal to the process. And it's hard to get people's attention. But I think we're doing it. I was shooting some pictures at UHD today to go on my digital ads, and student comes down and like, hey, can I interrupt for a second? I was on the 4th floor and I saw you and I recognized you from your campaign. I feel like disillusioned in the process. I don't really vote, but I'm gonna vote for you because I like what you're doing, right? And so when you crack through like that, I'm like, what, like, you saw me from 4 floors away? And you came down here to come talk about that? And he wanted to have deep, engaging policy conversations with me on environmentalism and ecology and the bayous and all this stuff. And we spoke for like 20 minutes, like interrupted the photo shoot and just like sat and chopped it up for a minute. That was beautiful to me. That like somebody who said like, I'm checked out of politics. I don't believe anymore, but I saw something in what you're doing and I want to get involved now. It's been difficult, but I think when you're running on a real message that meets the times, it's all worth it, and we are cracking through.
Absolutely, and we're going to get into what your points of your campaign are, but I want to know, before you were chief of staff, before you were working for this organization that you do now, how did you get in all of it? What was your origin story?
So my mom and my dad are both working the polls for me. Be nice to them in Wheeler and Sunnyside if you see them in my T-shirt.
Okay.
And somebody asked my mom that question. She was like, "You raise him to like be a politician?" And my mom was like, "Yes." Like, Mom, that's like the worst answer you could give. And there, she was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, my mom was telling the story about how she used to be an election worker, so not like handing out the leaflets, but
Yeah.
inside the
Yeah.
process. And my mom has always been like involved in um, Senate District 13 politics. She was a precinct chair.
Mhm.
So I have like all these memories as a little kid of like following her around as an election worker. She let me vote for Lee Brown when she like brought me into the booth back when they
Mhm.
had the curtains and everything. She
Oh,
brought me into the curtain and back when we had the chads that you would
you had to
punch.
punch it
She
in.
let me
Yeah.
punch Lee
Yeah.
Brown and like that was, I have these kind of core memories. And my father was a shop steward in his union
Oh,
with
what's union?
Communication Workers of
Oh,
America.
CWA.
He
Shout out to
was,
Claude Cummings.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He was a it was Southwestern Bell at the time. It's funny you mentioned Claude Cummings. So my dad's shift, I think it probably ended at like 8 or 9 p.m. So after I would get out of school and then I would go to the after school program, which ended at 6. Then he would pick me up and take me to the union hall where I would finish my homework. And over the loudspeaker, every room had a PA system that was linked.
Hmm.
So Claude Cummings would be given these like
He was president of,
bombastic
yeah.
speeches. He was the president at
Yeah.
that time, like and like seeped in this class consciousness to my brain while I'm trying to study fractions, right? So I just have these kind of core memories that I didn't even realize were seeping into the back of my brain. When I was with my mom, for the first 12 years of my life, I lived with my mom, lived with my grandmother for a little bit, then I lived with my dad, and we lived in Sunnyside with my mom. And one of my aunties got a job as like a secretary at River Oaks Baptist Private School. Able to get her kids in, and then once you get a few in, now you're like legacy, so you can get others in. They pulled us in. So every morning I'm waking up in Sunnyside, hopping on 288 and watching the world change, watching
Yes.
the built environment go from this mostly kind of rural place to like gets a little suburb. Then I'm in the urban core of like extreme wealth,
Yeah.
right? And I'm hanging around kids that are of extreme wealth. I remember the first time I went to my friend's house and she had a 2-story home and I'd never been in a house with stairs before, right? And like,
Yes.
so there's this kind of like class consciousness that's being built and obviously a racial consciousness too when you're one of the few black students in a predominantly white area, but you live in an all black neighborhood and you kind of go back and forth. So anyways, fast forward to like my college years, I got involved in campus organizing. There was my university was building a biotech park in the hood in a place called Overtown, which reminded me of Sunnyside. And they were using, because of where they were building, they were able to leverage like different state and federal dollars. And it was basically like poverty pimping. Like they weren't offering anything to the people there, right? And so we started organizing for a community benefits agreement. At that time, I don't know how many years ago that was now, but that just wasn't done. That wasn't common practice. So we were kind of like at the tip of the spear of that type of organizing. And I remember feeling like dejected. We weren't getting anywhere. We were holding this community meeting of like 50 people. This guy just walks in off the street. He says, "Hey, I heard you guys were having this meeting, and I just wanted to tell you, I was not about to make rent this month. I didn't have formula for my daughter, but because of what you guys are doing and demanding that they give us jobs in the community, I went to the construction site and they gave me a job today, and I made right. And that just like that was the moment. It's like this is what I want to do.
Hmm.
Like I was ready to give up. And at that moment, like to see somebody really like be able to do something for their family was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And so I became a union organizer after that.
Oh, which union?
I was with SEIU.
I was
So,
with SEIU.
No
I was
way,
with
what did you do?
SEIU Local 925. Yeah, political.
okay.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what state is 925?
Washington State.
Okay.
Washington State. So yeah, let me tell you, as a union organizer, you learn there are no limits.
Yeah.
Like you really learn. I think folks that really want to get into organizing and advocacy, I think that is a great place to start because it was like, I had worked for TOP, Texas Organizing Project before, but working for a union when we're in an organizing drive,
Yeah.
you do what you got to do.
Let's go, Mo.
Okay, there were times I was in hospitals, University of Washington hospitals, like, "Is it okay that I'm back?" Like, no, come. We're going over there.
Yeah.
It's like we got to talk to these people.
Yeah.
And it really is like a really powerful thing. Okay, so you come from union organizing, and then how do you end up chief of staff to an at-large city council member?
By being a campaign manager on a congressional campaign for Letitia Plummer first.
Ah, okay, so that makes sense. The
Yeah.
Justice Democrats 2018.
Yeah.
And then, okay,
Yeah,
so
I came back.
that's,
I came back for my little brother's middle school graduation, whatever it was. He was in the same class as one of Letitia's sons, and my dad's like, "Hey, there's this woman I want you to meet. Getting ready to run a congressional campaign. I think you should help her." I'm like, "Dad, I'm going back to California. What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, no, you just meet with her." And I said, "Well, where's the race?" He said, "CD22." And I'm thinking through the map in my head. I'm like, "That's a lost cause. Like that's as red gets. Like
Fort Bend.
yeah, I'm going right back to Los Angeles. Thanks, Dad." And so he's like, "All right, fine, don't meet with her then, but I'll drop you off in the morning at the airport." And so he calls me early and he says, "Hey, let's go get some coffee before I drop you off. I want to talk to you." I'm like, "Cool." So we're going to the coffee stop and he pulls into Starbucks and he says, "Go in there, Letitia's waiting for you." And so he forced me into interviewing with Letitia to be her. Sorry, Tish, you probably never heard that story. I was trying to get out of it, but he forces me into sitting down with her, and we just clicked instantly on like a person level. Like she's interviewing me, asking me the questions, writing stuff down, and after like 5 minutes, she puts her pen down, and we just start chopping it up.
She's such a cool person.
And I quit my job. I got on the plane, quit my job, and came back.
Wow.
Let's go on this quixotic mission to turn Texas 22.
Yeah. And then what's his name ended up winning that one?
So Sri Kulkarni won
Yes.
on the Democratic side, and he faced, it was Pete Olson at the time who won. Then in I think 2022, Troy Nels won.
Yes. Yeah. So you end up, so now you're at City Hall.
With Amanda Edwards, actually.
Oh, so you went with Amanda Edwards.
Because Letitia, we made it to the runoff, but she didn't beat Kulkarni.
Got it.
And so her brother, Farouk, was friends with Amanda Edwards.
So cool.
Farouk is the coolest
Let
guy
me tell you something.
you could probably ever meet in
Farouk
life.
is like, talk about swagger.
He's like the
smooth.
definition of cool. He really is.
Yeah.
Doesn't get upset. I think Farouk got mad at me one time and it freaked me out. Because you never see Farouk. Farouk is just the coolest,
so
like
cool.
deep chill guy.
Yeah.
But he knew Amanda. He was like, "Hey," and I'll try to do it for Farouk. He's like, "Hey, Amanda's my friend. She's gonna somebody like just cool, right?"
Yeah.
So he sets me up on an interview with Amanda, and again, like a click moment. Like Amanda and I think Letitia and I really vibed on like an emotional level. Amanda and I vibed on a mental level. Like she's one of the sharpest policy minds I've ever met. Like, got plans within plans on policy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We noticed that, so we did this thing called Dinner with the Candidate. We did a community dinner series. So we did Christian first, and then we did Amanda. And the Q&A part was like, like she's not just giving these broad ideas, she's talking about the program and how it's funded and and it's like, oh, that's her thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Amanda kind of molded me into a mini version of that at City Hall. She's like, "Okay, we're gonna read everything." I was like, "Everything?" She's like, "Everything." So like whenever the agenda drops at City Hall on Wednesday, when people like come in to vote on stuff, that agenda gets dropped on a Friday before. And Amanda would have me print out the whole thing and read everything over the weekend. So it's like, think of like every week I'm reading something this thick, every contract, everything. And it's like, it's torture. And then like 3 months in, stuff at the level of director of the department knows stuff. So like, no one can tell you anything about anything because you're like, no, actually I read that contract and there's a missing clause in paragraph da-da-da, and you just know everything, right? So Amanda used to find stuff that other folks didn't catch, and she is not the type of person who's going to publicly try to humiliate the mayor or anything, so she can resolve it behind the scenes and all that sort of thing. But no, like I got it. After a while, I was like, this is torture every weekend. I don't have a personal life anymore with my friends.
Yeah.
But I know a whole lot about City Hall now.
A whole lot. And it's hard for, I say all the time, it's like, I remember I was working for Move On, and Move On had teamed up with Ben and Jerry's ice cream to do an ice cream flavor for Kamala. So it was Coconut Jubilee. Get it? Because the coconut thing.
Oh, yeah, what do you think you found?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're in Philly. We're at the kickoff. I'm backstage because like me and a colleague are like emceeing this thing. And there's a guy, I'll never forget, it was Eagles, like, start a weekend. Like, they're serious about their football in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And this guy walks by, and I mean, this is like in a, like, how did he get back there? Security is supposed to, like, stop people. And the Ben and the Jerry are there, by the way.
Wow.
And I forget which one it is, but he, like, I've seen people high, but he was, I mean, it literally got to the point where I was like, excuse me, hey, is he okay? We could be able to do this thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, he's rich. He's, you know, from Vermont. He just does whatever. And so no, the guy walks by with this girl, and I'm like, hey, you know, where y'all coming from? Not supposed to be back here. And he's like, oh, what is all this? And we're like, oh, you know, we're here. You know, we're supporting Kamala. And he's like, who's Kamala? And I paused because I'm like, clearly this is a joke. You know. And he was serious. And I was like, the vice president of the United States. And I'm like, she's running against Donald Trump. And he was like, well, we don't want him. So I guess I'm voting for, what did you say it was? Kamala? And it was like a gut punch.
Scary.
Because we're in Philly. We're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there's like a whole cracked bell in it.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? And so, you know, I look at it like there are a lot of people who aren't as nerding out over all this stuff. Like, how do we get to them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see it all the time. There are people that are just living their lives. I talk a little bit about this. Most people are living for the first and the day you get your paycheck and the day that those bills are due. They don't have time for all.
Absolutely.
They got work tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And if you're not talking to them about work tomorrow morning and what that looks like, you're not talking to them, right? So like it's like, I'm gonna fight Donald Trump and all that stuff. They're like, yeah, I got work tomorrow. Like, kid needs formula, right? Like daycare is not affordable, right? Like I feel like Democrats. Let me stop myself right there because we can do a whole nother episode on that.
But I think it's worth it because I too agree that like sometimes the messaging goes over people's heads. Sometimes it's too technical. It's too polished. Like, I don't have a fucking outline for this. We're just vibing. You know what I mean? And I think that's the part that works. And I think so many times I've been part of things where it's like, hey, we're going to recruit these people and then we're going to give them their talking points. Okay, now, Miss Sarah, you say this. And it's like a little bit of that works, but we'll continue to lose the overall argument. And I'll even say at the state, the county, and the local level, when we miss out on the authenticity, and I think that's part of what you bring, is like this authentic sort of level to it. Ed Pettit said, we need folks like Jordan who understand the ins and outs of city government to be a bulwark against waste and corruption. I mean, let me tell you something. When even with this, and you know, I would love to know your opinion on the Super Hub, I was looking at like the different appraisals, and then this and that. I'm like, wait, what? I'm in the wrong business. I need to listen. Let me go and open up a homeless shelter. Let me go buy some land in a warehouse district. And but here's the kicker: you have to find whoever the person is at City Hall that can like make this a thing. Right, so that it can sell through. I mean, that is, wow. I think it's such a nuanced issue that needs a nuanced approach.
Yeah, it is. So 419, Ed and I did a video with Ed because he had a different opinion. I think he's got a good perspective on it. So I went to the meeting that they first had in Second Ward after they announced 419, and there's no note taker there. There's no like comment forms to give people and incorporate their feedback. It's not an announcement so much as a pronouncement.
Yes.
This is what we're doing.
Yes.
You can come in on Tuesday and, you know, let off some steam, but we're doing this, right? And no one's ever going to have a good reaction to that. Like, it doesn't matter that, and to be clear, I think the thinking behind 419 is sound. It was the Star of Hope. It's kind of ready-made to be just a center for beds. We have about 3,000 homeless on any given night and 2,000 beds. So we got to get to those 1,000 beds as fast as possible. And the long-term fix is permanent housing with wraparound services, the most expensive thing we can do. But kind of, okay, we got a building, it's there. But they've, I think, been working on this since January. And so my problem is public policy is being created in a private room.
Right.
And it's going to impact people. And I think that the East Side is bearing the brunt of downtown's social ills, right?
That is so true.
So
The
the
Greyhound?
Greyhound bust
Yes.
that's been moved to Magnolia Park.
Yes.
Now we've got this facility is being moved to Second Ward, right? If I live on the East End, I'm like, there's nowhere else in the city
Right.
where we can spread this.
Right.
Now let's give the counter argument to be fair. You got a ready-made facility. The homelessness, in theory, this facility is taking homeless out of the neighborhoods and into this facility. It's what they call a low barrier to entry facility. That is like, we're not asking you 1,000 questions. We got a bed.
You don't have to be
you got a
sober. You
bed.
don't have to do all this.
We don't
stuff.
have to
Just
do
come
all
in.
this sort of thing.
And they can bring their pets, from what I understand.
Oh, really? I didn't read that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I saw somewhere that they could bring their pets because that's often, because we did this thing where we helped people, we called it ID Connect.
Yeah.
We would help homeless people, mostly homeless people, get their ID. So we would pay for the birth certificates. We would do the whole thing. We have volunteers running it and everything. But the problem that we ran into, like we started it with grant funds that were from other grants that we were able to just redirect. But my thought was eventually the city or the county will see what we're doing and
Replicate
they'll
it on
like,
scale.
yes, they'll bring it to scale and it'll be great.
One would think.
Never happened.
Yeah.
And even the larger nonprofits who we were tracking where we were getting our referrals from, it's like, look, we've helped X amount of people from your org. Wouldn't it be great if we could keep doing this?
Right.
If you
Let's throw some gasoline
Right.
on this fire
Did-
that's working, right?
didn't work. So we ended up having to shut it down because it was literally draining our organization.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many case studies like that. And that's like getting back to the beginning of our conversation where you said, like, it seems like my campaign is attracting the grassroots. Yes, that's been my experience. We have these like mini laboratories called nonprofits that are doing experimental work. And when we see it working, we need to marshal all resources that we can to make
Yes.
it an official program of the governmental entity with more resources,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's one of the things that I want my at-large office to be, like this sort of selector of these little mini labs that
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
around town.
So you go from being chief of staff, policy, you're normally the person that's in the background.
Yep.
You may meet with people, but you're not the one that's out front.
Right.
And now you got a staff that's just trotting you around to all these different events and all this stuff for election time. How are you adjusting to that? What has been the biggest adjustment for you with that?
I think the biggest thing is sometimes I've done a lot of work, but it's not things that people saw me doing. I wasn't front and center, right? Saying, this is me, but like my fingerprints are in a lot of places. So when I meet people, they're like, we haven't seen you around.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I was supposed to be a ghost. It's like, it was my
It's
job.
part of your
If
job,
you had
yeah.
seen me around, I'm not doing my
Yes,
job,
yes,
right?
yes.
So I think there's been kind of a trust factor that I have to get over. And, luckily there are people in the community that are like, no, like I know this guy. Like somebody, part of like the being content, somebody put in one of my comments like, oh, now he want to come around shooting these videos in our neighborhood. We ain't never seen him. And before I can even respond or think about responding, somebody that has worked with me for years has been like, oh no, let me stop you right there.
Right.
Like you're new to this.
Yeah.
You just discovered
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
Like we know him, right?
Right.
So there's been a lot of that to overcome, but I think it's getting out there. I think I'm building trust. I think people are understanding like, no, I've been like in the underground. Like this
Yeah.
is the underground city and I'm an underground guy. And
Yeah.
now I just gotta be a little bit more public with it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that counts better. It's almost like it's one thing for the owner of the restaurant to say, hey, come try my food, it's really good. It's something totally different when someone who you trust
Yeah.
says, oh, go there. So you have people that are grass tops that are not only speaking for, I mean, they're swinging.
Yeah.
I mean, they are out really pushing. And so it's like, I told somebody the other day, I said, momentum is on your side. Momentum is on your side. I got so many calls about, oh, wow, like Jordan got the Houston Chronicle endorsement. Can we talk about that? Did you think you were going to get it? And when did you find out? Like, what was that like?
I went into it totally blank because I've been in rooms where I've discounted myself before I gave those people an opportunity to buy into me.
Okay.
And that's not good. I go in assuming like I'm in a Dwight room, I'm in a Salinas room, and it changes the way I interact with those people. And so I had to turn that off when I went into the Chronicle. I was totally neutral. It's like, okay, I don't know anything about these people. I don't know anything about the questions they're going to ask me, but I know what I believe and what I think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go in with that. So it's there's like 6 people on the editorial board on that side. It's 4 candidates over here, and
How did they group y'all? Was it like, how did they
I don't know how they
decide
did the other groups, but they told us where to sit. Like they had
Okay.
a seating order. They were like,
Yeah.
I tried to sit somewhere like, nope, you're gonna sit right here. Al's gonna be next to you. Alejandra's gonna be there. Dwight's gonna be there.
This kind of seemed like the top 4. Like, I actually made a joke about it with Evan. I was like, so y'all did varsity, and then y'all did,
Yeah.
And so it was like, so continue.
So we're sitting there, and I'm like, oh, I'm all the way over here on the edge. I guess I know what number I am. And but I'm trying to turn all that stuff off, right, and just answer the questions. And it was like the most natural thing I've ever done. It was like you hear athletes talking about being in a zone where you're not really conscious of what it is you're doing. That's kind of how I was in talking about policy. It was just like, I've thought about this stuff. I've worked on this stuff a lot. I'm not thinking about what the right answer is. I'm just thinking about is what's the thing I've been thinking and doing for years, right? And giving that response.
And it's the fact that, like, now that I think about it, if it's you who, like, read all the things over the weekend, who knows, like, how all this stuff works from, like, a granular level, you have Dwight, who is an elected official, but sometimes if you're the elected, it's the staff that are really driving a lot of it. Like, you know, I talk all the time about, I worked for State Rep Alma Allen. I did one legislative session.
Yeah.
And it was like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, like, I kind of know my way
You
around
know
the
your
Capitol.
you know your stuff, yeah.
And then you have Alejandra, who, like, you know, she's worked for the Obama administration, or she's done this and that. But again, that, like, being chief of staff, like, sitting in place of the council member and actually, like, being like that right hand does, you know, matter.
Right. You know, one of my opponents, who will remain nameless, likes to say, well, it's one thing to be a staffer, but being the elected is a totally different thing. I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. The staffer is the workhorse. The chief of staff is the engine of your office. Like, you have to make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed. So yeah, I feel like being a staffer prepares you uniquely for the role. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're a few days away. Give folks your final pitch. Is there someone out there who's like, I don't really know? Because I'll be honest, I haven't voted yet.
Oh,
I haven't.
So I have to give you the pitch.
You have to give
then.
me the
You're
pitch
the
too.
person that
You have
I'm
to give
giving
me the pitch.
to. Okay.
And it's because it's hard. It is really like, oh,
It's
my
not.
God,
It's a really easy
It's
decision.
a really easy.
There are, I'm serious. There was a question. I'll give you another moment about the Chronicle interview. They asked us a question that blew my mind and kind of locked something in me where I felt like I have to win this election because of how the other people answered this question. They asked, what is Mayor Whitmire getting right? What's he getting wrong? Dwight, he's doing everything fine. He's not doing anything wrong. Alejandra, homelessness. Okay, I agree with that. That's the one issue that he's messing up on. Don't agree with that. Al, doing everything right. And Dwight, Alejandra, Al, I expect you to give me slings and arrows for this, but that's more or less the quick notes version of what you said. I mean, that is what it is. And I struggled to say, what is he doing right? I said, let me get back to that. And then I listed about 15 things I disagree with him on, right? And I think even though, you know, Mayor Whitmire is a popular mayor, I'm not going to say that he's not, at least if you believe the polls and the people that they ask. But if you go to people on the streets that are like impacted by, you're not talking to me about the projects that you're doing, you're ripping out life-saving infrastructure for people, you are giving away the candy store when it comes to public safety and these raises that you've given out, right? With no reforms in place. Don't get me wrong, our public safety officers need every red cent they had coming their way, but we need major reforms in those departments if we're gonna give major money to them, right? None of that took place, right? So it's like, I don't have any disagreements with John Whitmire. I don't know that man at all. I have a problem within a strong mayoral form of government, public policy being created in private rooms and decisions being made unilaterally.
Absolutely. You know,
Right?
I remember when, and I caught a lot of slack for this, when Chief Fenner was chosen as chief of police. And my pushback was, Austin has like a process. I was like, we couldn't get a doodle poll. We couldn't get, like a Zoom,
Yeah.
a Zoom link and come and give your
Yeah.
opinion. It's like, no, this is what it is. And it's like, the process by which we landed there is the problem, because what if it had gone another way? Like, the people are not being part
At all.
of the process.
At all. And in my role as a project manager, like I have what's called eminent domain. It's a part of my projects. I can literally come in and say, hey, here's the price we're going to offer you for your land, and I'm building, right?
Wow.
We don't do that. We go in, I knock on people's doors. It took me 2 years to buy the land that we needed to buy, and I say, where do you want me to put this? I don't want it at all. All right, I got to go talk to your neighbor, right? I made 122 route changes on my line to accommodate people, to bring people in. And as a result, I don't have people kicking and screaming about my project, right? That's how, if I do that on a private project, how much so more important is it that the government does that when we make major policy decisions for whole neighborhoods, right? So, no, Darrell, you need to vote for me.
Okay.
This is an easy decision,
Okay.
right? Like, I have a fundamentally different view of the relation between elected official and the public. And I can't wait to make even more of this case.
Wow. Okay. Well, folks, y'all have heard. I see Tara Taylor's in here, Lee King, Pat Cherry, Ed Pettit, of course, and then we're gonna snip it up and send it to y'all, so y'all can like do the things that y'all do. I gotta say, your staff is great.
Love them.
Okay, they make you look really good. All of your social media, all of your posts, all of your emails, all of your texts are like creme de la creme.
Thank you.
And there are some other candidates who should be doing better, okay? I mean, hell, some of the stuff I could do better on Canva. Some of the stuff I look at, I'm scrolling, and I'm like, okay, now you should look better than this, and it doesn't. But no, they make you look really good. Tara Taylor says, I miss Finner. Good luck. I mean, I think you've made a man. Like, imagine if everybody that was elected, city council, county commissioner. We do have a couple of them on county on commissioner's court that are very like paying attention to this, right? What a better city we would be. And so, man, thank you for running. You're inspiring a lot of people. Any advice to the folks that are watching? Maybe they don't want to run for office, but they want to do something.
Yeah.
Give advice to the guy who saw you from 4 floors up
Yeah.
and came down, and he's like, man, I wasn't even paying attention. You probably changed the trajectory of his political involvement in Athens.
Wow.
You probably did.
Well, my only advice is do you. Don't look to the left or to the right, what everybody else is doing. Tunnel vision, do you. Like, you've got that idea, that spark, whatever. You have everything you need within you. Manifest it and make it real. Yeah, you don't have to copy what fake versions are out there trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the people, it's almost like they can sense it. It's almost like, I go to Herman Park sometimes. The squirrels are not eating Cheetos. They know that's not food. Trying to give a squirrel a Cheetos, like, I don't want that. No, I want the peanuts. Give me the peanuts. But thank you for being here. And thank y'all for watching. We got a double header today. We had, earlier today, we had a candidate for Attorney General.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had Nathan Johnson, State Senator Nathan Johnson.
Nice, yeah.
He was a hoot and a half. You were a hoot and a half. We actually did his over there. And we were like, let's switch it up. So if y'all happen to watch both, would love for you to do that. And put in the comments what you thought about Jordan's race, him running for office. We have some really good candidates. He is, among the best in at-large 4. You have until Tuesday to make your vote, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow, which is October 31st. It's Halloween, right? You don't want it to be scary on the 4th, so go and do that tomorrow. Go and vote tomorrow, or you can wait, of course, until Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on that day as well.
Sounds right.
You have big plans for the weekend? I figure you're going to be kind of busy.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. The very great staff that you mentioned is going
as it
to
should
place
be.
me where they place
So
me.
that you could focus on the thing. Like, you shouldn't be worried about times and this and that. You should show up and be just as fresh and as on top of it as you were today. Thank you so much for being here, and thank y'all for watching.